Okay, welcome to a short tutorial video on how to get the most out of the motion swing. Now here I am on the practice ground. I've got my Comet Trail set to full. I've got my snap cam set off so I can see the full flight of the ball, which is going to help to explain some of the ball flight characteristics we're going to see. I've also got I think I've got my settings set to minimum on the snap penalty and moderate on the sweet spot. So that's the way I usually play. I can play reasonably well with those settings. I'm not good enough just yet to step up to no aids at all, and it's going to take a bit of practice for me to get there, but hopefully this tutorial will get people up on the right lines. So there's a few different things which dictate where the ball is going to go. First of all is your power, which as the mouse swing isn't tied with the avatar yet, it's tied in with the swing meter over here. So when I click inside of here and start my swing, the swing meter will go up to the top, the pointer will go up to the top. 12 o'clock is 100% power. If I go over 12 o'clock, I will actually create more speed, but I'm also going to exaggerate any mistakes I make. So I try and keep it, around about the 12 o'clock mark for maximum power. Secondly, we've got the club face angle. Now in real golf, the club face really dictates the majority of the starting path of the shot. Now we control the club face in the motion swing via tempo. So if I swing back at a nice pace and swing down too fast, that's basically going to close the club face. So the starting point of the ball will be left. Conversely, if I go back a little quicker and come down very slowly, the club face is going to be pointing right and the ball will set off to the right. So that's the predominant characteristic of where the ball is going to set off. You've got the swing path of the mouse. Now ideally, to hit a straight shot, you would go up and down the line, nice and vertically like so. If you deviate from that, that's going to put a spin axis on the ball, what people used to refer to as side spin. And then we've got the miss hit value. Let's say, for example, I click here and I start my mouse up in this position, but I return it somewhere over here. I've got an offset from where I started, and that's going to cause a miss hit. It's going to cause loss of distance. So let me hit a shot and let's try and explain exactly where some of these bad shots you might be experiencing and coming from. Now, the first thing that people tend to do is swing too fast coming down. They think more power going through, more speed will create a better shot, a more powerful shot. It won't. What you're going to try and do is time the downswing so it's about 4 times faster than the backswing. Okay, now that may seem like a huge amount faster, but trust me, everybody I've seen who tries this for the first time swings down way too fast. So watch what happens if I swing down way too fast. Okay, way too fast, ball's going left. Okay, and I've seen a lot worse than that, so let me continue. Let me now come down way too slow. So I'll go back and come down very slowly. Both balls setting off to the right. Don't worry about where it's curving to from that point yet. Just think about the starting position. So we're controlling the starting position of the swing by the tempo. Wait for that ball to finish rolling. Okay, so let me try and hit a straight one. So this time I'm going to try and pace my swing so I get a smooth transition into my downswing from my backswing. So back and through. Oh my goodness, that's way too slow. God, I suck. I'm going to blame that on the slight lag I'm getting from fraps while I'm recording this. Seriously. It's the first thing you learn as a golfer is to have lots of excuses lined up. So that's my first of the day. Okay, I'll try a little bit better. So back and through, a little bit closer. Okay, so you'll see here we've got the power. You can see I'm just past 100% here, 101% in my feedback. Ratio, 0.22. The ideal ratio, as I said, you're trying to swing down 4 times faster, so the ideal ratio is actually 0.25. So 0.22 means I was slightly too fast. And the offset of 1 on the toe, 1 degree, is virtually nothing. And the swing path was pretty straight, so that was on plane, so that was a pretty good shot. Don't worry about this data too much for the time being. Let's just concentrate on the swing meter data. Alright, so let me try another one. A little bit more power that time. Ratio was pretty good, almost perfect. My offset was 0 and my plane was 0, so that's good. That was a pretty good shot. So that ball's going to go down there like 280, 285, 290. Nice. Right, so let's see what happens if I aim off to if I want to hit a draw. So if I want to hit a ball that curves from right to left. Well, there's 2 ways I can do that. The simplest way of doing it is to kind of preset it before you swing in our shot center. Oops. So if I right click inside the swing meter here to bring up the shot center, so where I can choose my club, right click again, I bring up the shot center. Now, a lot of people have been thinking this is a golf ball. It's not. It's just an arbitrary sort of symbol for you to change the loft and spin on your shot. So if you move it upwards, it's going to create a high shot. You can see down here. Nothing to do with this, the backspin. And down here, it's going to create a low shot. Okay? Again, it's not the point on the ball you're hitting. It's just a way of controlling the height and the spin, the side spin. So if I move it all the way over here, I've now got a draw spin set up. So by aiming over to the right click again to get rid of it. If I do a straight swing now, it was pretty good. I've got a nice little draw going on. So it sets out pretty much where I was aiming and draws to the left, and I did that pretty much purely just by setting up the swing meter in the shot center before I hit the shot. Now there's another way of doing it which is slightly more complex. This is the way that real golfers do it. It's not, but you know, it's an alternative if you want a bigger hook or something. Okay, so in order to set the ball out to the right, what do I have to do? Well, I have to swing down slightly too slow. I need the ball to set off to the right, but I also need my swing path to move from what we call in to out in this direction. You can see my mouse pointer. If I do that and also get the club face pointed slightly right, I'm going to hit a nice curve to the left, and that's pretty much exactly the way it works in real life. So let me see if I can hit one. I'm not very good at this, so you'll have to bear with me. Inside, and then over to the right. So I've got the curve because I had the 11 degrees in to out swing path, but I didn't set it out far enough to the right because I wasn't quite slow enough coming down. Try that one again. So I'll aim it straight. I'll swing to the inside. A bit slower going through, and again not quite slow enough going through, but you can see I'm creating the spin axis that's going to hook the ball to the left. If I want to do the opposite, I'm going to have to swing down slightly too fast. Now I find that easier to control. I'm also going to have to get my swing axis moving slightly what we call out to in, across in this direction. Let's try that one. Okay, so it starts a little bit to the left and curves to the right. So the characteristics of the shot, I mean, it was an extreme, I was quite a long way too fast, and my swing path was terrible, miles out. And you can see when you get extremes like this, you start to lose distance as well as direction. But this starts to explain some of the shots you might see. And it also explains how the swing meter feeds the data back to you. So let me try a slightly less extreme version of a draw. So I'm going to aim a little bit off to the right, like this. Swing a bit to the inside. And I'm going to try and keep my pace, quite nice, because the sort of 1 to 4 ratio, because I want the ball to set out over these markers here. pretty good. Got the ball setting out over to the right slightly and curving back to the left. I'd take that one. That was killed. You can see my swing path was only 2 degrees into out, so it only had a little bit of spin on it. I'll go the other way, in a little bit left. I'll swing slightly across it if I can. And it was a little bit too slow. I got the curve, so the swing path was out to in, which was good, but my offset was a little too high, so therefore I got the ball starting off too far to the right, so that would have gone into the rough on the right. So you can see you can start maneuvering the ball around by controlling the way your mouse moves and also the speed at which it moves. I know this is quite difficult from what a lot of people are used to, because they're just used to controlling the swing path. But I really believe, because we control the club face and the swing path and also the miss hit value, this way of swinging the club, or this way of swinging the mouse in the game, is the most realistic mouse swing that I've seen so far. And I think once it gets tied in with the avatar swing in real time, I think we'll get a lot of people trying this out and hopefully enjoying it. So let me see if I can hit a good shot to finish with. Look at that. Perfect ratio, on plane, 1 degree offset, 103. Nailed it. Well, thank you for watching. I hope that helped, and I'll see you on the links.